Welcome back to another Introduction to Minecraft series. Today is all about redstone. In case you don't already know what redstone is, this is a very basic introduction tutorial. If you do know a little bit about redstone is and how it works, I suggest you move on to the next Introduction to Redstone series video, which, if this video is just coming out, won't be coming out for another couple of days, but it is planned and it goes into more mechanics. So first of all, what is redstone? So redstone is essentially like electricity in the real world. It comes in an ore block that looks like this. When you harvest it, you get dust that looks like this, or as it was in my hand. And when you lay that dust on the ground, it looks like that, or this wire. You can do a few things with it right off the bat. You can make torches. You can make a redstone block, which is kind of neat. But otherwise, that's not really that helpful. And like I said, it's kind of the electricity of the Minecraft world, so you're probably thinking to yourself, or you've seen a bunch of videos and you already know, this stuff is really cool, and you can make a lot of cool things with it, including one guy even made a graphing calculator. So, go figure. So, a very basic thing is, and don't worry about what these are yet, I've just got a redstone torch here, which puts out a constant signal or a constant amount of power for this redstone. And all this is demonstrating is how far that signal will go. So as you can see, it'll go 15 blocks before you run out of signal here. Each of these pistons represents one block further. The only reason I have this here is to ensure that, this signal doesn't degrade, which would be one less block distance. Every 15 blocks, you've got to make sure that whatever signal you're sending either doesn't exceed that limit or that you're renewing it somehow. So let's get into what some of the other components of redstone are, and then in the next couple of videos we'll be talking more about how to use them, logic gates, things like that. So first of all, there are some very basic mechanics with redstone that you can do right off the bat using simple redstone things that don't even really use redstone, as in redstone torches, redstone dust, blocks of redstone, comparators, repeaters, things like that. And some of the things you can do are all of these components can be operated or are operators of redstone. So for example, trapdoors. Now, wooden ones you can just open by yourself with your hand, but they can also be opened with levers or pressure plates or any of these other things. Iron trapdoors, however, I cannot operate with my hand, as you can see, but I can operate it with, say, a pressure plate or a lever or a button. Same thing with wooden gates. I can open them with my hand, or I can open them with a pressure plate. Iron doors, however, I cannot open with my hand. I can with the use of a button, or all the other things. This door, I can open and close by hand, or I can even place a redstone torch there to give it a signal, or again, use the buttons and stuff. A redstone block, just as I mentioned, can give a signal to redstone wire, just like a redstone torch. So there you go, I've opened the door up. Anyway, I can even open up this iron door by doing that. So just to demonstrate, but of course with a redstone block or a redstone torch, the signal is constant, so it's always open. This is a hopper, and when you drop something in it, it'll take that item and put it in a chest below it. These are some redstone lamps, and this is a tripwire, which is something you can use to lay traps with for mobs or various people. And as you can see, as I walk across it, it turns the light on, and then it stops turning it on when I walk past it. This is a dropper. It just drops items at me. This is an observer, so it gives a signal when a block is placed in front of it. You should see this door open and close really quickly when I open or when I create or destroy a block in front of it. These are weighted pressure plates. They do essentially the same thing as the pressure plates from over there, except they give off different signals, different power of signals based on how many things are on them. So they can be activated with entities on them. And this is just a note box. Gives off little notes. This is a sticky piston, so it can lift blocks or push them in any direction. And because it's sticky, it'll also pull it down when the signal turns off. This is just a regular piston. It'll push a block up, but it will not retrieve the block. These are useful for different things. This is a trap chest. It gives a signal when you open it, so another way to kind of trap people. And this is a daylight sensor, which, as you can see, gives a signal in the daylight. So as I mentioned before, and now I'm going to get into this, a redstone signal can only travel so far before it goes down to 0, and you can no longer read a signal from it. So how we solve this is the same way we would do it in real life with a buffer. Or in this case, we call it a Redstone Repeater. And all a repeater is, like I mentioned, in digital electronics, there's this idea of a buffer, or a double inverter. You invert the signal to a negative, and then you uninvert it to a positive again, and what it has the effect of doing is the same as in Redstone, where it cleans up or renews the signal to its basically original power. In this case, original power, and it gives a full signal again. Then you have a comparator, which compares the two signals coming in and determines which one is stronger. In this case, it will light up when I get rid of this torch. These power rails will be activated. This minecart will travel over them. When it hits this detector rail, it'll send out a signal to these 3 powered rails, sending the minecart even further along to this detector rail, which will hit this activator rail, which should make the minecart activate its TNT and explode. I thought this would be a fun way to end off this video, so here we go. And there you go. There's a minecart exploding due to redstone. I hope this gave you some basic ideas of what we'll be working with in the videos to come. I know it's a little long-winded, and we didn't really build anything today other than a minecart that will explode. I think it's important to understand the materials that you can work with, or at least some of the major players. And then as we get into it more and more, you'll recognize the components that are being used more and more. And hopefully we can build on this and create not just an introduction to Redstone series, but a pro Redstone building series.